This is Listening with Franklin Livingston, and our listening guest is Emma Skolostra.
So let me ask you this. Why did you decide to write the book or the novel?
So one of my good friends in high school, she wrote a novel, like while we were still in high school. It was like senior year, and published it. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I thought it was amazing, and it kind of made me realize that like that is a possibility. Like that's something I can do. I mean, obviously I know authors exist and people write books, but I never just thought of it as something that like was tangible within my reach that I could actually do. And my friend made me realize that this is something that I could actually do. And I've always wanted to be able to make an impact in some way, some form of representation, something. So I wanted to be able to write a story that people could see themselves in. Even though I'm writing a fantasy novel, it doesn't matter. You're still going to be able to resonate with characters and situations and emotions and experiences. And that's always been really important to me. I've always been a huge reader. I was a kid, like when I would get in trouble for something, most parents would like be like, no TV time. They would have to like take away my books, or my punishment would be like no reading tonight before bed. Because I loved reading so much. And I mean, I would love it if I could give that experience to someone else with my book. That would be awesome. Also, I wanted it's the main couple is two girls. And I definitely obviously we're very lucky now. There is a lot of sapphic representation in the media, but more is always good. I would always again, I want people to have the representation. I want them to see themselves. I would like to see myself. So if I'm writing about two feminine girls being together, that is a reflection of me and my relationship. And I'm sure it's a reflection of others too. And then also we were talking about witchcraft, and there are some witchy elements to the book besides the fantasy ones. So typical fantasy witches, obviously everybody knows they're stereotypical. You were talking about the green skin and the pointy hat and everything. There's a lot of those. There's a lot of witches in media and in fiction, but there's not a lot that are portrayed the way like a modern pagan like myself would portray a witch as an actual human being and not a mystical figure. So I wanted to have a character like that. Because it's something I would like to read, so why not write it?
So if it's not too much giving away, when you say witchy elements, what does that mean?
So there's some folklore. I don't remember if it's like, I don't remember what part of the world this comes from, but it is said that maybe it's like Celtic, I'm not sure. It's said that if a member of the Fae, like a fairy, gives you a gift, you can't accept it. You can't say thank you, and you have to bury it. If you say thank you, then you owe them something. You're in debt to them. So that's kind of the premise of my book. That's before the events of the book even take place. This little girl, she's learning her manners. She says, "Oh, this pretty shiny tiara, thank you so much." But you can't do that because now she's an adult, and this fae shows up and is like, you owe me, you're in debt, you have to now be the ruler of my country type thing. Yeah, it's extreme.
I'm not going to say thank you to anyone then. You never know who's which and who's not.
No. I haven't taken a business of theater.
I don't know if there is. Like, most of the schools don't have it.
No.
Class in business of acting. One school has.
Okay.
And they give some idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in general, they don't like. They might have an audition class.
Yeah.
Have you taken them?
No, but I have to write right now in my acting class. We're creating an audition package for ourselves. We have to have like 2 monologues and a resume and
2 contrasting.
yes. We need a Shakespeare one, either dramatic or comedic, and then whatever you pick for that, the opposite in a contemporary monologue, and then you need like 32 bars of a song, and then like a scene clipping. and then a headshot and resume.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're working on in class right now.
A lot of MFS, I think, they'll ask you to do that contrasting model.
Yeah.
And if it's a musical theater program, they'll ask you to sing maybe 16 bar.
Yeah.
But what was your particular curiosity? And this happened during the break. She was asking me a question. So, what was your particular interest in the business of acting?
I mean, I just think it's also interesting how it works. Like, even being here, experiencing like you guys setting up the camera, and doing all the takes and all the cuts in between the takes. I think it's really interesting, and I want to get more involved in that.
One thing an aspiring actor can always do is work as a PA in different sets.
Okay.
And you can work on a skeleton set, which might be very different. You can work on a multi-million-dollar set, which might be very different. And there'll be tons of PAs there, not one person. And then you can see the camera, lens, light, sound.
Would that be a good like internship type thing? Or
A job too.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the question is, where do you want to get with that? Let's say you have all the information how a film set is run.
Yeah.
Does that help you become a better actor, or does that help you become a filmmaker, right? So that's the thing you gotta ask yourself. Where do I see myself in the next 2 years,
Right.
and then 5 years,
Mhm.
right? I once had a cinematographer filmed a couple of days as substitute DP on my comedy series. And he has been, I think he was working for one of the network crime shows in Brooklyn, I guess. And I said, oh, you're not doing that anymore? He was like, no. I said, why? So he said, and I'm just saying what I heard from him, that they treat us like commodities and they don't treat us like humans. Because sometimes it happens, there is a lot of yelling and just like assertive commands.
Yeah.
Do this, do that, stand there. Why are you doing that? There's a lot of hostile type environment. And it might not be politically correct. It might not be very conducive. It might not come across welcoming.
Yeah.
And people just do that because they can say, oh, I was such and such set. Or they could name drop that I had a selfie with so-and-so.
Yeah.
Same with actors. Like there was somebody here, one of our guests, and she was in a movie with A-listers, and she said the rules they told were you can't look in directly in their eyes, you have to look at the ear.
Mm-hmm.
So those things you can learn if you get to be, depending. So say it depends. You were a PA where you don't get to see the leads acting, then there's a problem. You don't get to see that part of the world.
Right.
So it's all about the objective. What do you want to accomplish? I think that's the case one should be volunteering at or working as or interning at.
That makes sense. Definitely. I mean, I would like to accomplish acting in the film world in some capacity. It's some form of I don't know. I guess I want to. I don't know what I'm saying.
No, I think I understand. Like you're just to know what to do. So, for example, you walk into a film set. I think you should know more what not to do.
Okay.
To be honest,
that makes sense.
Because say you get cast, and you never know. Sometimes it happens that you get cast in a network show as a I don't know, they call it guest appearance or supporting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you are a witch type girl?
Star. Yeah.
Guest star, yeah. And somebody got murdered next door. And the cops will come knock on the you open the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is a very nice looking young female. They'll say, okay, you know where Zach is? And you'll say, who? Oh, the guy next door. oh, the guy, this way, and they'll say, yeah, no,
No.
and
No.
the writer goes, oh wait, I saw him actually coming up the stairs last night,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he looked drunk. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Right and go. Now, if you have 3 or 5 lines there, and if you're fortunate enough to book that, and if you wanted to, because then there are people who don't want to do that because they know they can just get into that cycle of just being called as a guest star, and they
I wouldn't
avoid
mind
that.
that.
So if you don't
I'm
mind that,
interested
so
in
you
that.
should know what not to do, right?
Yeah.
First thing is when your agent sends you the audition,
Hmm.
do it without asking questions because your agent doesn't even know more than that. So if they send
Yeah.
you 4 lines, that means it's just 4 lines.
That's what they got.
You know the crime show, and they will say young female in 20s. Now you can't go in this direction of is she gay? Is she straight?
Hmm.
Does she have a valley accent or not? Most likely that doesn't go in talent's favor.
Hmm.
Overthinking.
Yeah.
You just think a girl.
Yeah. Just a person.
Neutralize.
Yeah.
Generalize. Yes, just a person. And then you should dress up more neutralized. You send it. And whatever they say, if they say look in the camera and say your name and not look exactly, do the same.
Yeah.
There's no democracy
Hmm.
or no rights, the language you were using early on. It's not what they won't give you any rights to. Okay, it's okay if you want to do that. No,
yeah.
it's very black and white. You do that, submit to the agent, they submit it, and they call you. Now
Yeah.
you go for fitting.
Hmm.
And you go for fitting wherever in Brooklyn they say come and you're wearing this outfit. You can't question that. And if they say the woman has cleavage, she has cleavage. You can't say no, that's against women's right. No one cares about women's right. You can say whatever, but no one will hear it.
No, yeah.
Right? Or you can say, I would rather have red lips. Okay, good for you.
It's not me though. It's the character. Why would it?
Right.
I'm not
But
saying
this
me.
is so funny. A lot of these things happen to when people work with me because I know in their mind, who are you? No one knows you. And I don't say that because I also know the answer. Let's say if I say, would you do the same if you were in Martin Scorsese's set or Tarantino's set, right? And I know what they'll say is, but you are not one of them. So I don't say that. But in my mind, if you can't do better here,
Hmm.
then you can't do it a bigger. For
Yeah.
example, there's a verse in the Christian Bible, the New Testament, and God says, this is actually a metaphorical story that somebody gives talents to his people,
Okay.
employees, and goes away. You might have read this in Sunday school.
Probably.
And he gives 5, 3, and 1. And these guys, the talent, the Bible doesn't say what kind of talent.
Okay.
The owner goes away.
Hmm.
And the guy who had 1 talent, he hid that. After a year, the owner comes and says, what do you do with the talents? And the guy who had 5 talents, he said, oh, I made 5 more. And the 3 months said, yeah, I got some more. And the one guy said, oh, I was just scared of you. I didn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
And then the master says that take that 1 talent from him and give to the one who made the most.
Okay.
Because you didn't do anything with that, right?
Yeah.
So if you are faithful in less resources
Okay.
or less tradition, you'll be faithful in the bigger one.
Hmm.
That's where I was going with this. So if you are, let's say your work ethic is the same as an actor at Franklin's film set
Hmm.
and Martin Scorsese's film set,
Hmm.
you'll always be successful. But if you look down on somebody like, okay, his movie's like a couple of billion, his movie's 250 million, and he has only 3 people on his crew. The other person has 25 people on his crew.
Right.
Or well, millions of people know him. No one knows him.
Yeah.
So it's not going to help you.
No.
So that's the thing where a lot of novice or up and coming actors will ask this. Well, I don't think a woman will walk like this. Well, I don't think a woman will talk like this. These questions, they waste time and energy. without being mindful that their job is to be honest and truthful, depicting that character.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I
Hmm.
never would have even like thought to do that. I feel like I always would have just been like, "Yep, this is what the director wants. I will do that because
That's right,
I'm
yeah.
playing a character. It's not me. It's not a reflection of me. It's different than I'm sitting here talking to you as me. I'm playing a character. I'm not me."
But that's no, I think that's right because that's gonna go a long way with you.
Yeah.
You go to fitting, then they will tell you, usually depending on what show, for example, they'll say Friday, 5 a.m. They might not say a van, a vehicle will pick you up from 34th Street, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Penn Station is on 34, right? Somewhere there. They will write that, yeah. So then you just there, they'll come pick you up.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't say that. Why at 5? Can I come on my own car? See,
Yeah.
those things, first of all, no one will answer those.
No.
So you go there, you wait for them, they pick you up,
Mm-hmm.
you go, and I don't even know what role, like how it's going to play out then. Do they put makeup on or not, right? And they'll make you sit somewhere.
Yeah.
Eventually, a PA will come and out loud say your name and take you and place you where you're supposed to be, and then you'll see the crew being taking a lot of time fixing light and all, and so you can't be like, can I go and pee right now? Because the assumption is you have taken care of that.
Yeah.
And then the actors will come,
Yeah.
because they are almost in every episode,
Mhm.
these two cops and whatever, and talk to you.
Yeah.
If you forget your line, that's fine. You're human. But I would. This is something. Okay, I would never say to one of those, even if they're supporting actors,
Mhm.
reoccurring
Yeah.
roles, that hey, could you feed me a line so I could react to that? And I know some people. Oh God, like I was in a short film and there's an actress and she has been in a couple of series. A Meisner trained, and she and I were in a short film.
Mhm.
My character is smoking,
Mhm.
and then she says something to me. Now, I already smoked, and it was outdoor, it was cold. And I thought, okay, now they have so much
Mhm.
footage.
Did you actually smoke, or is it like a?
No, it was, I think, real cigarette.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, now they have that they can use because she's walking from there, so the camera shows it.
Mhm.
And she didn't say her line, and the director, I don't know what he said. She said he didn't do that thing. And I was surprised, really? Like and I know she might see it and not like it. But I don't think that
Is it just like a timing thing? She didn't know when to go.
it doesn't
Like,
matter.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, a lot of the A-listers, especially when these were like sitcoms 5 days a week,
Mhm.
they might go, A-list might go, and that's why when you see the reverse shot, you might not see their shirt or whatever, single, because they might have a stand-in.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
you do the lines,
Yeah.
right? So you can't have a lot of expectations
Yeah.
there. It's a different world, and you can't say, oh, I again don't want to use the name, but okay, he hasn't done his action 3 times, so why should I say?
Yeah.
Or like he's not giving me anything. This all looks nice and works in an acting world, or when you're making a movie with your buddies, or if you're at a movie set of indie film where people are extra nice. But again, I'm going to repeat this: the more money, things are not that nice,
Yeah.
and you have to be very careful if you want to continue. Like,
Right.
otherwise, what happens is, okay, so you say the line, and director says, be more anxious. No, you can't say that. Oh, so tell me, what's my motivation, or what action do you want me to play?
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
They just want that
Just do it.
result. Yeah, and they will use non-acting language, and that's the way the world is. A lot of acting schools, we used to have talks. That's so wrong. Directors don't know how to deal with actors. Okay, great. No one cares about that.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when you land at an airport.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. You're going to Europe, somebody coming to the US, you're coming back. If an immigration officer is rude, he or she is rude,
Yeah.
and you suck it up.
Yeah.
No one cares about your rights there. You can say that's violation of my rights as an American citizen.
Like
I have
it
freedom
sucks,
of
but you
speech
can't
or
do
whatever.
anything about
Yeah,
it.
and they have the power.
Yeah.
So it's so funny. I say that people, if somebody is making a movie like it in my position, people will ask tons of questions. Or I remember a female. She was like, "Will there be fruit in the morning?" And I was wanted to say that, okay, don't you get fruit at your home? Like you're gonna just come for, and she had like 1 day thing. But the same person can't ask a single question if it's a State Department related work or whatever. Sometimes they'll make you stand in sun. Go to other country at a U.S. embassy. They'll make you stand in 110,
Yeah.
and you have to stand outside, and no one cares.
Yeah.
A U.S. citizen or not, they will say, "Well, we don't have time right now."
Right.
And so then everything looks nice at a certain point when you say rights and all. Can you say, I'm not feeling like filing taxes this year? Okay, great. And then you see how you deal with IRS. So you do that line. Director says, tone it up. Tone it up.
Mhm.
He says, tone it down. Slow down. Be anxious. Be more sad. Just try to do it the best. Again, you can't see your face being sad or not.
Mhm.
But don't be overly dramatic. It's not like a melodrama.
Yeah.
You have an idea of the genre, it's a crime story.
Yeah.
And you can watch a couple of trailers or whatever. And when they say, okay, cut, he will tell you where to go. Are you wrapped or not? Just follow their lead and go home and then try to forget it. To the point, what if the director did not like the way you came across on camera and you might not be in the actual episode?
Yeah.
It happens more in commercials. And I think Conway can speak more to that, where you go in a commercial and they'll have like, these are nurses, these are doctors. There was one commercial filmed here in the hospital. And one of my friend, when he saw the final cut, I think they only showed his shoes. So that's the thing. They have the power. Are
Yeah.
you like, oh, I wasn't in the thing.
Yeah.
I put so much makeup on. I slept so well, so I don't have puffy eyes. They don't care about that.
You're just doing your job.
So yeah, it's a very different world. It's their way or the highway.
Yeah.
So if you want to do it, uh, in a lot of, I know this is also a little controversial, what I'm going to say. A lot of people who are actually, okay, you were there. I was going to say that feminists or people who are all about LGBTQ plus rights, or in a certain way, these are my pronouns. When people from those groups get a role in a multi-million-dollar project, they don't really push that.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody's gonna call them she, they will let them. I've seen that personally, and I think maybe it's a human nature that we try to exercise our power, or we push for certain kind of rights where we think we can, or we don't have a benefit.
But I feel like that wouldn't be a situation where I would feel like I could, because like these are my superiors, they're my bosses. Like why would I do anything to jeopardize my job?
Yeah, that's the thing. So it goes back to the priority. Remember your identity. So are you an actor there, or you are an activist there?
Right.
Or so that's why it's a very different world. But I think on an indie sets, some people get very opinionated.
Mm-hmm.
I had a female. I did not know her orientation, and she she was in one of the movies, the movie I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
First time we began filming that film, and there's a scene. In the scene, she says, "Oh, she has to go, and her date is waiting." And I think there was he, or it was implied there's a male figure.
Mm-hmm.
This woman comes, and camera is there, reacting it out, and during her take, she says, "I'm not gonna say he because we live in a world where women go out with women too, so I'm gonna say she." Now, again, she doesn't know the whole thing. She was playing a sporting role, and she thought that was the right thing to do because that was her right. I had to start over the project because it ruined the whole arc of the character. Because say you were showing a character, she made a character lesbian, then you can't really show a character being in a relationship with male, which she
Yeah.
might not know, right? And then I'm laughing because sometimes a minor thing I might have thought like how stupid of her. I didn't say that because I was okay, great. But then I got the contract revised. I think the newer contract I shared with the actor says that you're not allowed to change a line or a word in it,
Yeah.
right? Same thing, I think during the series we also had one of the actors said that, oh yeah, the writer is male, so that's why he uses this. I'm not gonna use that word. I don't know what word was that. But usually the writer who has written most of the roommates, I'm surprised that he also knows the slang 16 and younger kids maybe use, which I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps up with that. When writers write, they put a lot of effort researching. If they're writing a character with 16 rating, they know what they're writing. They're not going to give
Yes.
probably a very ancient word to them.
I do so much research.
And just imagine this guy's almost 60.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a very seasoned writer who's well celebrated
Mm-hmm.
and an actor who's in the series who have sort of understanding of the arc of the series, but again, not because she's not in all 10 seasons.
Yeah.
So it becomes very challenging when people try to push that idea because they think they can, but they wouldn't do the same if, say, they are on a crime show.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the best approach is not to bring your own stereotypical assumptions,
Yeah.
perceptions, or your own agenda, even if it has to do with your own belief system, with own identity, or just stay away.
Yeah.
Because if you're playing a Nazi, you can't start off saying, let me be clear, guys, I am not a Nazi, but I'm going to act it out because you're paying me. No, you just leave that out of your thing. No one needs a clarification. Everybody knows you're playing that role. Your job is to play that role. Or if you give a speech of 2 minutes there, first of all, if it's a big, big budget, soon as you'll start, they'll say, thank you, go home. But if it's an indie set, they might listen to you. But again, there will be some silent awkwardness.
Yeah.
They'll think, oh my God, she has a big mouth, she's so opinionated, she doesn't really like us. And it just like ruins the energy.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people just don't say it. It doesn't mean they don't feel it.
Yeah. I feel like we talked about so much today. Like, I feel like we've been all over the place, kind of. But it was good conversation, good topics. I think that it was really nice to be able to just talk like this. I feel like you don't really get an opportunity to just talk to somebody for this long, get to know a person. Even if you're going on a date, like, you're not talking this much.
There's always a fear. Oh my God, I'll say and offend her, or does she think I'm fat? I shouldn't order a hamburger. So there's constantly weird things you think about.
Yeah.
So you can't be really yourself, right?
I think I still think weird things now. I think everybody is just there's always thoughts in the brain.
Oh, you were thinking what weird things?
I was thinking no.
Oh, okay. So I was enjoying the conversation.
No, I was enjoying the conversation, of course. Even your perspective, I think, which is a little bit different than mine, I really
on what topics?
I don't know. Just I've learned a lot about the way that the film industry works and hearing about like your process when you're making your films and all of the like symbolism behind it, I think has been really interesting. I really value hearing about stuff like that. And I would say it is really helpful for somebody my age who's trying to get into a bunch of different things to have somebody to talk to like that. Like I'm grateful that we now have like an we know each other, because I think going to someone and asking questions is always a good thing. I do that with my friend who's a writer. I'll text her questions about publishing or whatever because she knows a little bit more than me about writing, and it's something I'm interested in. So
I mean, there's no harm in reaching out.
yeah,
It might be a little bit difficult for our ego because we all struggle with that.
yeah,
But asking questions, seeking guidance,
right,
seeking help, seeking support,
yes,
that all makes us humans, right? And a part of our humanity is being relational.
yeah,
A human can't be solo, can't
right.
function solo.
No,
A human is not designed to
mm-mm.
be on
Or
his
pack animals or whatever.
No, it's great. I think I'm glad to hear that. That was helpful.
Yeah,
And like, hopefully, things we talked about. It sometimes takes time, when you talk a lot to
right. Be
process.
processing,
Yeah.
thinking about things for a couple days, definitely. Um, did you enjoy our conversation?
I did enjoy our conversation. I learned about another witch without her and green and broom and cycle. Oh, you have a cycle?
No.
Okay. And I don't know, do you call yourself witch or I was just saying that again and again?
Yeah.
Okay. And which I did not know in advance. But yeah, no, I
You
think
learn about OCD.
OCD, that seriously, yeah. I think that's very important to learn and understand that there are people who have different conditions and they always need our direct and indirect attention, consideration, and care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you want to say more on the OCD to our friends watching in particular?
I mean, if you have OCD, you got this. You can get through it. It sucks and it's hard. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You will get there. And it's possible because I did it. So you can see me. I'm a functioning human being and I have OCD. So, yeah.
No, that's great. Yeah. I would say one should never lose hope.
Yes.
And your parents decided, you were involved in it too, but you were a minor. That's why I'm saying parents, and got together with a doctor and came up with a plan, prescription.
Yes.
Medication is very important.
Yes.
Therapy
I
is
feel
very
like there can be like a negative implication about doing any of that stuff, but if it's going to help you, do it. Like, it's not a bad thing. There shouldn't be a negative implication with getting the help that you need.
But you got to do your part. I mean, you can't say I have medication here sitting when I don't feel like taking it.
It won't be. It's not enough. Even if you take it, if you're not putting in the work to better yourself, it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, they say that no one can really help you. It's you.
You have to help yourself.
Yeah. And I try to do that in my movies, in the comedy series, although it's a comedy, but it still has a lot of serious themes.
Of course, yeah.
And I think that's just
so awesome about media, that you can incorporate all these different things and it can really make an impact on someone.
Absolutely. Well, Emma, I am really grateful for your time and you coming down here and being with us, talking, enjoying, laughing, sharing.
Yes.
I really appreciate you opening up and being vulnerable and your contribution to this show. And I hope to stay connected, and whatever I could be of any assistance to you on your journey, I'm happy to.
Thank you.
And yeah, I wish you well, and I look forward to seeing you on a bigger screen and your novel being published.
I'll sign my novel for you.
Absolutely. I am waiting for that day. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.